All right, Scott Knight here with good friend Lachlan McLean, Aussie from down under, SIUE graduate, forward, traditional number 9, currently with Greenville Triumph, third in the league, USL 1 in scoring, champions of the 2020 season with Greenville and USL 1. Welcome to college to pro with us at Ango Sports, Lachlan. How are you?
Ready to go.
All right. Let's do a quick intro here and give us a little bit about who you are, what you did growing up in Australia, who you played for, maybe some acknowledgments or some people that had some influence on you coming out of Australia, playing in Australia.
Yeah, my name's Lachlan McLean. I was from Sydney, Australia. I played for Manly United for the majority of my years in Australia before I came over to the US. I had some pretty incredible coaches growing up through Football New South Wales, Pete Fennell, Oscar Gonzalez, and a couple of others who really, really helped me in my youth career, just working my technical stuff. I had a little brief stint at Northern Tigers and then 1 year at Sydney United too. I was very injury prone growing up, so I ended up bumping around a little bit, but I spent my last couple of years at Manly before I came over to the US, and a little 2-month stint in Poland too.
Okay, so we got introduced, I think, sometime between when you returned from Poland to Australia, and then we were there to help navigate that move from Australia into the US for university. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience and then where you wound up committing to with university?
Yeah, so I saw the opportunity in the US after I was 19 years old after that season in Australia finished. I saw that, the prospect of getting a degree is a really, really cool thing to do at the same time that you can play soccer. So yeah, when I finished, I actually connected with a different company. And one of the things I realized when I did that was there's a lot of trash agencies that are involved that try and just use the situation for money. They try and pick you up, put you wherever, and that's what they do. So I was getting strung along, and that's funnily enough what ended up being the reason that Scott and I got introduced. I was at a point where I had an offer to pretty terrible teams, and I was getting no money. So I was looking at going to university in Australia, and just been in the idea. And then Scott came in, and I really wanted to get over in January. So Scott only had a 2-week period to an Ango Sports 2-week period to get me a team and get me signed and get me over to the US. So it was pretty incredible. And I guess through that, that's when I noticed the difference between a great agency and a terrible one, because, in the week's time he had to reach out to clubs, I had 5 Skype calls with grade D1 programs. And at the end of that second week, I had offers, the exact offers I wanted from 3 of those teams, and I just had the opportunity to decide. So through that, I actually ended up at a pretty historically strong program in American soccer, collegiate soccer, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, SIUE, and then I started in the 2016 January.
So Mario Sanchez, right? Good friend.
Great coach.
Coach, right? Now in the pro level here with Louisville, was probably, I think, a fantastic fit for you, right? I would like to think he played a good part in your development, was pro environment, right? At a college level, really gave some ownership to the players and to the group, right? So I think that's important to acknowledge, Mario. Let's talk a little bit about your experience on and off the field at SIUE, maybe some moments, some of the teammates you had, that sort of thing. What can you share?
Yeah, so I'll start with off the field. So off the field, it's cool, as a younger younger kid, you get to experience, you got to learn to be more mature and independent. That's what's great about college. No one's going to cook or clean for you. No one's going to get you anywhere on time. So, honestly, off the field, the accountability that college lets you achieve is really good to honestly to move forward into a pro environment, because it teaches you to be a professional at a young age. So SIUE was a different culture for me. It was freezing cold, and I was absolutely not used to that. But one of the best parts about it is there's so many different places and so many areas you can go in the US, and when you make your decision, you choose one, and then you got to learn to adapt. So I was really grateful for the area I was in, because it was uncomfortable to me at first, but I ended up making it really homely by the end. So I really enjoyed that. To touch on the field, I was pretty lucky. As I said, one of the great things I think about Scott and Ango Sports is, they've contact with every college team in the country. So, I got to a program where they've consistently pushed out pros. Like 2014, Matt Polster, for those who don't know, he had a stint with Rangers, and Steven Gerrard. He's played in the MLS. He's now back in the MLS with New England Revolution. Great player. He was there before I got there. But in my time, I had players like Austin Ledbetter, who's now with Phoenix Rising, who are winning championship after championship in the USL. Andrew Molan, he made it into Chattanooga Red Wolves, one of the best USL League One teams. I had Jorge Gonzalez, who was one of my teammates. I promise you that kid will be doing big things. He was at SIUE. He's here at Portland Timbers too, and had an incredible stat line for his first year, considering the team he had around him. So I've been lucky enough to play with some pretty incredible people who have made it to the pros at SIUE. But yeah, just on what Scott touched on as well with Mario. I had Mario as my first coach, and then Kale Wasman as my coach after, and both were huge influences on me. The great thing about SIUE was how it felt like a pro environment. Training's every day, training's intense. There's an expectation to perform, and it does one of two things. Not only does it let you realize that to become a pro, you have to work your bloody ass off, and you got to do it every day for the 4 years that you're there. But it also helps you to grow and decide, as you're doing this, hey, I love soccer, I love football. I'm getting my degree at the same time, and you get to learn more about yourself, whether the exact path you want to take after you finish those 4 years.
So those 4 years come to an end, and you need to make a decision, right? You fast tracked, academically. So you finished in that January window, right? Well, actually, you arrived in January, you finished in January. So you got that degree, you graduated midway through. That enters us into the professional category, into the cycle here with our big window is in that winter period, right? That December, January, February is our big window here in the US. And now you need to progress into that next phase, right? I know we were part of some of that with you at the end. In the beginning, we were there as a sounding board and to listen and to try and help navigate. Why don't you share a little bit about those next steps and how that went for you?
Yeah, so my senior year, I didn't have a great season. For whatever reason, I didn't have the output I wanted as a striker. So one of the things which was awesome for me, and I'm sure anyone, is at that point when you're by yourself in a country, you need someone, as Scott mentioned, like a soundboard. And whenever I would text or call Scott, whenever it was, I would always have him in my ear, giving me good advice. So the pro trialing period is stressful enough as it is, especially when you go in knowing that you haven't performed to the level you can. So you're behind the eight ball already. So I was very grateful for that side of it. That helped me keep very level headed, and that was a big part of what led to how great all my respective pro trials turned out to be. So yeah, I went to a couple combines, different couple situations, which to touch on as well. I think one of the things is because Scott has access to such good universities. I had not only Mario, but I had Kale help me get to great combines. The getting set up in good universities and building good relationships with them was what helped me get to a lot of the initial trials. And then not only after that, Scott and Ango Sports helped me get to Loudon. It's a USL Championship team. So I was at New Mexico United. I did the trial there, and then I went to Loudon. And through Scott's relationship with the head coach Ryan at Loudon at the time, I was actually able to use that to springboard a trial with Greenville, where I ended up. So I went to the Loudon trial. Things didn't work out, but because of the location, I just changed flights, and Scott was helping me do that. Set everything up. And when I changed those flights, I made my way down to Greenville, and then again just performed as well as I could and got invited to preseason, and from there I got signed.
So amazing, right? Story, ups and downs the whole way. I remember that time at Loudon, it was, do we take a bus? Do we get on a plane?
Yeah.
I think you went with Gu, right? Fernandez.
Yeah.
Another local kid here to us, know the family really well. And I know you made some good relationships, and you keep those relationships all the way through with those experiences with those guys that you trialed. So tell us about Greenville, right? Beautiful part of our country, fantastic club, big club, right? Expected to win trophies, big fan base. I know this year is a little bit complicated with that. So tell us a little bit about when you got started, how that transitioned work, the difference, right? It's a big difference, college to pro. I know the big thing for you is you have a tremendous mentality and focus and drive. So it's really important at that pro level. And you have a really well-known coach, right? With John Harks.
John, yeah.
Accomplished a lot in this country too. And I know he's very demanding as well, both in how you carry yourself on and off the field. Why don't you share a little bit about the club experience right now?
Yeah, so after I managed to get signed for Greenville, it was about mid-Feb, or the coronavirus hit. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting year, but if anything, it had more challenges as a first year. So as Scott mentioned, Greenville they were the runners up in 2019, and then coming into this year, they wanted to win the trophy. There was big expectations, and when I came in, it's like, as Scott said, it's college prepares you definitely, but you need a really strong mentality, and you just need to work your bloody ass off to be able to keep up. So, I did all the quarantine training and stuff, and going into the season, I was behind a player named Jay Keegan. The previous year, he was the talisman for Greenville. He had 9 goals, had a great year, led them to the point where they were at, to nearly win the title in 2019. So I had to come off the bench for the first half of the season to prove myself. And that was tough, but I feel like as an athlete, expecting to play and get minutes is immature and stupid. It's pro, it's a business. The best players play. So I just sat down and I worked as hard as I could. And in the first 8 games of the season, I had 1 goal and 1 assist. They both came in the 7th and 8th game, and then in the last 8 games of the season, I broke into the starting lineup for that first block, and I had 6 goals and 1 assist. So I ended up finishing with the second highest goals per minute in the league. I had, as Scott mentioned, the 3rd highest goal tally in the league, and yeah, we ended up winning the title at the end of it all. So we led the way from start to finish. We finished on 35 points. I think second was 27 points. So yeah, it was a great experience for my first year. But I think the success was only because of the lessons that I learned in college. And for me, the lessons I learned in college directly is like a representation of where you are. And when I look at this, I mean, I don't look at and say I did everything myself this year to have the success I did. That's absolutely not it. I look back to when I was in 2016 and I didn't have an opportunity to come to college, and then Ango Sports brought me over here. But not only that did they bring me over here, they put me in a good program. They put me in a good setup. They helped me along the way, as I mentioned, psychologically to stay tuned, especially when I had, the coach change going into my senior year. And then again, even even though it's predominantly for, college entry. Again, like at the pro level, I had opportunities to get to pro teams and pro trials through the company. So yeah, I couldn't speak highly enough about how invaluable the service was to me, and how I know, the success that I have had up to this point has definitely not been, wouldn't have happened without Scott and my company.
I appreciate that. I think feelings mutual, right? Great representative of not only yourself, your family, SIUE, but great representative for us as well. I know we've had you speak to a few other guys that are maybe going through the process or not really understanding, and we do appreciate you're always there to pick up the phone and help and share, which I think is fantastic. So I think lastly, congratulations, right? Just signed for another year at Greenville, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 2021, yeah, I'll be here again.
Yeah, so you got 2021 preseason. Hopefully he's right around the corner, right? With we're hoping an April start, May start, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully like late April, early May. That's what we're thinking.
And big expectations for you, right? They're expecting you to lead the line up front and to produce again. So
yeah,
I know we're very excited to be able to follow you and enjoy in all those successes. So if there's something to end with right now, is there something that you would want to tell the next Lachlan coming out, or the next boy coming out, that the next player that can take advantage, international, domestic, whatever it is, right? What would be that next bit of advice? Maybe if it's even a player that's in college now looking to pursue pro, right? That could be coming up for them anytime soon. The draft is coming up next week, right? As well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going through that with you, right? The ups and downs with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that you could recommend or share with whoever would be listening?
I touched on it a little bit. I would say definitely use your resources is a big thing. As I said, Scott's here and he was super helpful for me throughout that whole period. Your college coaches, all that, definitely use your resources because failure is going to happen. So you need to learn to be able to deal with it and use that to drive you to succeed. But I mean, and you hear it and it sounds cliche, but it always just comes down to it. It's hard work. I made it as a pro because, on account of a lot of other things as well. But like at the core of it all, I just worked my ass off. I just knew I wanted to do it. I knew I came over here to get a degree, which I did. And I was really happy I did as well. But I knew at the end of the day, I wanted to be a pro, and, I wouldn't get the pro if I half-assed it. So hard work till the day that you get told no, and you know that there's no other opportunity at all, you work hard until that day. So
I think that's fantastic. I appreciate all the nice things that you had to say about us, but I know you accomplished all of that on your own. Again, we're very, very proud. I know you're humble as well. You're grateful to those that have been around you, and that's why you'll have a really big career and can continue to do well. So hopefully in these coming years, we continue to jump and progress with you, right?
Moving hopefully 2021 is MVP and Golden Boot.
No pressure.
That's the aim.
No so that would be amazing. Lachlan, I appreciate your time. Again, amazing. You're a good friend, great representative of us. We love you. Big things for you ahead, and all the success in the world, for sure.
I appreciate it, Scott. Yeah, thank you.
You're good, man.
Got you.
Ciao.
Bye.